And we are going to be doing a deep dive into that introduction right after we approve the January minutes and tackle the administrative updates. So yeah, Alicia, do you want to take it away for the approval of the Jan minutes?
It. Good morning, y'all. So I will be seeking a motion for approval of those January board meeting minutes.
So moved. It's Elizabeth.
Second, Alex.
Great. And then for voting, if those can vote just by verbally voicing it or doing a thumbs up, thumbs down in your video. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Any abstentions for those not present, etc.?
This is Alan. I'll abstain. I was not there at the meeting.
All right. Looks like the motion carries.
So do either Oliver or Elizabeth want to kick us off with administration updates? So
I'll just say as pertaining to this group, the forestry and FPR, we're getting really close to releasing an update to the minimum standards for forest land management in the current use program. It's a pretty important update. We haven't updated the minimum standards since 2010, and we've been working with licensed foresters and landowners on this update for about 2 years, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. But it has some new requirements, mostly around good silviculture, forest management, and increasing accountability where landowners are in the managed forest land category, but not actually managing their forest land. So the target is to get the updates out to the public in a final version March 15th, and then they would take effect May 15th. We've worked with a lot of licensed foresters on this. We have a private lands advisory committee comprised of foresters, and they've signed off on it. There has been some concerns that these revisions will increase costs to licensed foresters and landowners, one or the other, due to some additional requirements, and we've really worked through those concerns and tried to either reduce anything that is ultimately unnecessary or explain why the changes needed and what the benefits are. We had all 13 county foresters pull 5 plans each and use the new standards to revise them, which was we looked at 65 different plans, and it took about an hour and 15 minutes on average to update the plans using the new standards. So we don't think it's a huge burden for a plan that's has a 10-year lifespan and provides a significant property tax benefit to the landowner. But those concerns are out there. But we think that overall the update to the standards is a huge improvement, and we're excited to get them out for understanding what they're all about for those that haven't been part of the process to develop them, and again in mid-March and take effect May 15th. I think for this morning I'll stop there.
Good morning. I'm going to be pretty brief. During the discussion of the business enhancement grants that we have with forestry, I did a little research. There is a grant program that I think some of the smaller awards might be eligible for. I don't want to get into the details because it's a little complicated. Allison, you might be familiar with the BGS Building Communities grant program. They did fund a forestry last year, which is, I didn't even know they were eligible. There was no reason to suggest they weren't, but it's exciting that may be another avenue for maybe some of the smaller equipment fit up requests that WLEB gets. So if anybody, I can either put it in the chat or you can reach out. It's always oversubscribed as every grant program is, but it is an option that is worth exploring for some of our potential applicants.
I think it would be great to share the link in the chat. Just so people can look at it and educate themselves on a new opportunity. Thanks for flagging that, Elizabeth. The one unique factor, what I was understanding from the email conversation, Elizabeth, is that businesses don't apply directly, right? They partner with a
Regional Development Corporation
yeah.
is the one who actually submits the application on behalf of the applicant. But it's my favorite grant program. It's one of the few that for-profit entities are the direct, beneficiary. They'll even take handwritten applications, which RDCs typically don't do, but could. But anyway, I will put the link in the chat here in a minute.
Oliver?
Yeah, sorry, one other thing. FPR, Division of Forest, we're recruiting for a communication and outreach specialist. We had a great person move on recently to take a really cool job at Sugarbush. And so we're recruiting for a new communications and outreach specialist to replace that position. I'll put the link in the chat. It's open until the 22nd of February. So a bit more time. And if anyone wants to forward that to people they know that might be interested, that'd be great. Thanks.
Trevor, do you want to kick it off for the agency, and then I can provide a update just on the work that we've been doing specifically around working lands?
Yeah, I guess 2 updates. So I think talked about this with the board a little bit over the past, but there's some federal money, S-220, that the federal government has made available to states to try to make up for, mitigate some of the harm caused by recent natural disasters over the couple of years. So the major flooding in 23 and 24 and the frost. That's been a really slow process, trying to get the agreement signed with the feds and get something stood up. The plan is that the agency will be managing those as kind of, reimbursement grants, I think is the idea, kind of similar to BGAP, if people remember that. But it's taken quite a bit of time. So we are still in the process of kind of coming to an agreement with the feds on that. And then we will be hiring staff to run that program. So it's probably not till late summer, early fall, will there really be something to advertise and promote around that. So kind of a nothing burger update for now on that, but still in progress. The main activity, besides some great testimony from different ag programs recently, main activity across the street has been focused on S-323, which is municipal zoning discussion. So last year there was a case in the Vermont Supreme Court around regulating ag practices at the municipal level. And the ruling gave a lot more authority to municipalities to say yay or nay to various types of ag production. So having livestock, kind of where you can do that and where you can't. So that's been a concern from the agency, and been trying to work with some partners like the League of Cities and Towns and a lot of ag organizations to get aligned around an update to some of that language that would prevent a more kind of patchwork, town by town, development area by development area, different set of rules based on what you can and can't do from an ag producer standpoint. So that's still very much in discussion in the State House, trying to get to some alignment there. And then, Elizabeth, if you want to talk a little bit about testimony and the presentations from Working Lands, I think that'd be great.
We were able to, last year we trialed a new approach to and worked with both of the committees, the House Ag and House Senate Ag committees, which allowed us. So we've had 2 hearings in each of those committees over the past 2 weeks. One specifically focused on the program and like an update on impact, the numbers. We did introduce a number of grantees, provided some reminders around the key aspects of the program that we think allow it to remain impactful, and evolve with evolving context of the forest and ag sectors. And then end with Q&A, which is undoubtedly the most important part of the hearing, where we get to really understand if there are, burning questions that committee members have, or misunderstandings, things that they want to clarify. And then following up the 1.5-hour hearing, we then had a 2-hour hearing with grantees in House Ag and an 1.5-hour hearing with focused on grantees in Senate Ag. So in the second hearing, we had 4 grantees come in and offer, live testimony, of course, both introducing their business, but specifically focusing in on the impact of the grant and the grant funds on their business. It is definitely, I think, the most motivating, it's a very uplifting, the testimony is very uplifting. And I think it does the best job to capture the impact that these dollars are having on businesses. To be true to the Business Enhancement Grant, which does fund a wide diversity of businesses, diversity in the stage of business, diversity in the size of the business, and diversity in the sectors being served. We had 4 grantees, and we had a forest sector grantee, we had a vineyard, a produce sector, and a value-added food grantee. And we had grantees that had $50,000 awards, and we had a grantee to represent the impact of small dollar awards that had received just $13,900. I think so this new approach just basically gives us a lot more time with legislators, which I think is really helpful. Previously, we had 2 hours, and we would do I can't remember, I think it was like an hour of program update and then an hour focused on grantees, and it was always very rushed and there wasn't really time for questions, honestly. So this feels like we've hit a really nice pace that allows for discussion, which felt great. I think probably most of you are quite aware that the budget is feeling tight, I think, to legislators, and they're being instructed to do like deeper dives into any programs that require funding. And they shared that pretty openly with us, and asked questions about spending. But the tone, the feedback from the committee, was very positive. I think there's very strong support for the program in each of these committees, which is great. But certainly if anyone is talking to their legislator from their home counties, or if you're just talking to any legislator, talk about the program. Now is the time. budget decisions are being made. I think crossover happens right after town meeting. So I think we're in the heart of these committees trying to, you know, make budget decisions and produce the rationales they need to support those recommendations. Yeah, we also know that the coalition, the Working Lands Enterprise Coalition, or the Working Lands Coalition, no enterprise, just Working Lands Coalition, which we do not participate in actively, but I saw Denise, who heads the coalition, at the State House, and she was able to share, you know, they were having hearings with House Ag, House Commerce, and we're hoping to have a meeting with Senate Ag. And we're also, you know, they're continuing to promote their ask of 5 million, which is not in the governor's recommend. The governor's recommend for the Working Lands program is the $1 million base. That is what was in the governor's recommendation. Trevor or Claire, have I forgotten anything on the hearing updates?
You're shaking your head no, so I trust her.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I think the only other update is hopefully you all, I linked it in the packet, and Claire sent out the press release announcing the impact report, hot off the press for fiscal year 2025. Hopefully folks have taken the time to look into that. It has some really nice highlights of grantees, and certainly has a lot of data that you can refer to. We will also be sending you hard copies. I know board members have appreciated in the past being able to like refer to it, and keeping them really year to year to be able to refer back to them as a useful snapshot reference of what the program is doing. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, okay. I think unless there's unless there's questions on any of the updates, I think we will proceed. Okay. All right, so now we are going to officially shift. We're going to be putting our decision-making caps on. I'm going to offer a quick overview of the business enhancement grant. And I would encourage people, if they have the spreadsheet open, to refer to the tab that is the fourth tab, which has the review decisions table, because the fourth tab is where you find the analysis. And I'm not going to read through all of it. I will highlight some of it. But overall, we received $4,269,119 in requests from 115 applicants. The review committees have recommended 30 applications. That's including both yes and maybes. And those recommendations total $1,101,308, which is $481,308 above the funding available. And I am going to put that in the chat for folks to read who want to reference it. It's in the chat. So of that 1,100,000, $830,131 have been identified by reviewers as strong yeses. $271,170 has been identified by reviewers as maybes. Most of the maybe applications had a specific question that reviewers wanted the applicant to answer. So these are strong applications, but that most of them, as you will see in the introduction, had a piece of information that was not clear in the application that reviewers wanted direct follow-up around. And we will provide that follow-up information today to the board in the introduction of these applications when available. Of the yes applications, so not including the maybes, for dairy and livestock, we currently have $158,000 recommended. For forest products, we have $210,000. For maple, we have $163,000. For produce, we have $139,000. And for specialty food and beverage, we have $158,000 of recommended projects. You can see that table. It is, as I said, in the review spreadsheet. In the fourth tab. And I think
what's the name of the tab, Elizabeth? Sorry, there's so many tabs. What is it titled?
It is titled review. Hold on a second. I don't know it open. It's titled
It's
review
the
decisions
review decisions table. Yeah, I think that Elizabeth, what was sent to folks is actually the entire FOW. So not just those couple of tabs. Yeah, so you're just looking at the color tabs, the blue ones.
How did that happen? I deleted the tabs. Are people seeing like more than 4 tabs in the FOW? Yeah, this is, Lily just shared a screenshot. So sorry about that. If there are more,
excuse me, what is the name of the tab?
It is
grant tracking, maybe.
Review decisions table.
Yeah, review decisions table.
Thank
Lily
you.
is sharing it. Yeah, that's helpful. And Lily, do you want to zoom? This is the table that I think it's helpful for folks because we're often interested in the distribution of recommendations per sector. So here in the table that Lily is sharing, you will see the sum of the amount requested. And then next to that, the sum of the reviewer recommendations. And as reviewers are very aware of, the each sector was given a target amount, which is the final column. That was the targeted amount that each review committee was asked to put forward to the board. So knowing that we are $481,308 above the funds available, I think it's helpful to think that means, it's not, this is an approximate, but I think in our minds, we can be thinking that we're going to have to be cutting approximately 8 to 10 of these applications. And this is the hard part of this conversation. conversation. It's the hardest part of what we do in this program, I believe. And that's what we're going to be taking on today. So let me actually take a moment, especially if you want to follow along in the review spreadsheet. If you go to the tab that says full app scores, and these tabs are right next to each other. And I thought that I'm pretty sure I deleted all of the other tabs, but Susie, you're the one who said that you're seeing all of the tabs, right?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that-
and they don't look the same as Lily's, so I'm not sure if, yeah. So, yeah, there's many tabs on here.
But does the review decisions table look like it does on Lily's?
It doesn't have the by sector details, it just has that decision total.
Okay.
Mine matches Lily's.
Great. Maybe it's my issue.
But
Or
Liz,
maybe
just
we're all looking at something different.
Yeah, can we just maybe send a link to the new, or just resend that one? I opened it from the email, so I'm not sure.
I can do that,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. I'll make sure I delete all the other tabs and just send that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Let's resend. I think that's a great idea. So in the worksheet that Lily is going to resend, which will only have Liz, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just getting in the queue. I do have a question, but if you want to keep going with your thought, please go for it.
Okay. No, I just wanted to orient folks if they want to follow along in the spreadsheet. The first tab and what Lily is going to send each of you right now shows you instructions on how to filter, because we are going to be doing the introductions per review meeting sector. So if folks need a refresher on that, you can look at the first tab. The second tab, if you were a reviewer or if you want to read reviewer specific full comments, you will find those comments, strengths and weaknesses and individual scores in the full app scores spreadsheet. In the review decision spreadsheet, and this is where we will spend most of our time today, is where you will find the reviewer rationale. You'll find the notes from the reviewer meeting, and you'll find an introduction, some basic introduction information to each of the projects. And then in the review decisions table, this is the final table. This is the final spreadsheet that you will receive. That's where you will find the breakdown of requests and decision amounts by sector. You will find a breakdown by product category, which is just a more detailed breakdown of the sectors. You will find a breakdown in the distribution of funds right now by the age of the business, and by size of the business, which is really captured by the number of employees. And then lastly, you can see the breakdown by county. And we will review these tables, will like auto renew, or they will update based on board decisions. So we can review, we will go to them when we pause after some decisions have been made. We can refer back to these tables. Yeah, Liz.
I just had a question about how much we are over on the recommendations right now. I heard you say 400 something, but this screen share that you're doing, why does
Oh,
it
because
look like it's 830 versus 620?
That only includes the yes applications, and we are discussing the
okay.
yes and the maybes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep, that's the. So lastly, a quick reminder, just around conflict of interest and confidentiality. If you do have a conflict of interest with an application being discussed, please do not participate in that discussion. You do not need to leave the meeting, but you just need to hold back from weighing in. Please also refrain from bringing in any unverified information. So this is anything that, you know, you've heard through the grapevine or that, you know, you think might be the case. But you absolutely are invited to bring in verified facts, you know, fact-based information into the conversation. Everything that we discuss in this meeting and in the attached document is confidential. Very important reminder. And then lastly, just a reminder that we gather all of the written comments and the meeting notes, and that is what we use to share feedback with non-awarded applicants who request feedback. So if there is feedback that you want to have shared, please be sure to you know, make sure it's clearly stated today so that it gets captured in the feedback that we share back. So I think we can take any questions. And now we are going to, and if there aren't any questions, we're going to transition directly into the introduction of the yes and maybe applications, which maybe we can stop sharing for 1 second, Lily, because we're going to do a vote. Alicia is going to guide us through a vote for executive session.
Real quick before that, Elizabeth, do you want to go by the order in which we did the review meetings?
I think
in
that
terms
was
of
what
sector?
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I think that's great.
Great. So if we're ready to jump in, I will be looking for at least 2/3 of folks in favor of us moving into executive session. So I'm just going to put forward some legal language to catalyze the transition here. I move for executive session to discuss the grant applications and potential grant awards because the board will be deliberating about potential future contracts and assessing whether to award grants by contract. The board will also be discussing personal and confidential or proprietary business information that could invade applicants' privacy or otherwise harm them, and the underlying records are exempt from disclosure under the Public Records Act. Premature public knowledge of the board's contract deliberations would place the Working Lands Enterprise Board at a substantial disadvantage when later negotiating contracts and discussing potential contracts, and/or the applicant's personal or confidential business information could harm applicants or put them at a substantial disadvantage. Just a little something I had off the cuff. So I will be looking for a second right now. There's a motion on the table.
I'll second.
Great. So all in favor of moving into executive session, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. All right, so moved. So we will be entering executive session at 9:39.
So I will now stop the recording. We are now back out of executive session.
All right, yes, returning from executive session at 1:07 p.m. And we are moving forward to authorize staff to begin negotiations with the desired slate of 18 projects, representative of $619,219.74.
Thank you all for participating in today's conversation, hard conversation. And have a great rest of your day.
I think I'm just looking for a motion to
Thank you
adjourn.
all.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, Alicia. We do need a motion to
I'll make
adjourn.
that, I'll make that motion. This is David.
Second,
Fantastic.
Alan.
Could I get a second? Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good work, y'all. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you all.
Thank
That's all.
you. Bye-bye.